Hello, everyone. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Martin. Martin is from Gibraltar. So let's see what Martin has to say. Enjoy the interview. Hello.
Oh, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Martin. How are you?
I'm well, and yourself?
I'm very well. Thanks so much for taking the time for the interview today. Thank you.
My pleasure.
So tell me, how's your day going so far?
It's going very well. We've just got the trailer for the last feature, so it's just a matter of supervising the final edits of the mixing to release the trailer. So everything's going very well.
Amazing. So, as you already mentioned about your career, so tell me a little bit about your career so far. I know you're a director, a filmmaker, a producer, a writer. So, walk me through a little bit about your career.
Well, I started, I believe it was 1991, I wrote a short film. Uh, Basically, it was about a zombie, zombies. Also, I got a bunch of friends in Gibraltar because I am born and raised and I live in Gibraltar.
Okay.
And basically, I bought myself a National M7 VHS video camera back in the day, and we started shooting the film.
Wow.
And it was such a great experience that I loved it. So I just kept on writing and producing and directing ever since.
Wow. So, everything that's how the journey started.
Yeah, it's a little passion that you had inside, and it was going bigger, bigger, bigger until I decided, okay, this is what I want to do. And basically, it's got a cycle of friends and collaborators and work on different projects.
I see. So, tell me about Gibraltar. So, you were born and raised over there?
Yes, Gibraltar is part of it's actually located at the southernmost end of Spain, the
Okay.
Iberian Peninsula, and it's about 12 miles from North Africa, Morocco. So we are sandwiched between two continents. We have the continent of Africa and we have the continent of Europe. And we are separated by the very famous Strait of Gibraltar, which is two waters, the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean, meeting. And it's the western entrance of the Mediterranean Sea.
Wow. So I believe most of the time the weather it's warm over there or not?
Most of the time, it is very warm. Uh, we haven't had any snow in the winter. There's no snow here. Temperature may fall down to 0 degrees Celsius. Very rare will it go down less, minor degree temperatures. It's normally quite warm and pleasant in Gibraltar.
I see. Amazing.
Excuse me, and it doesn't rain that much through the year.
And when is the rain season? Which part of the year?
Well, the rain season normally starts around mid-November to about March. But again, it's not every day. Some days we may have partial rain. Some days we may have a downpour of rain. But other days, no rain at all. Before, we used to collect water by means of water catchments every time it rained. And this was the water that we had for our local population. But because it didn't rain that much to substantiate the population's demand, then we had to desalinate water. So now we have fresh water 24/7 by reverse osmosis plants.
Oh wow. My God, very interesting.
And
Martin.
we also have over 30 miles, that's over 55 kilometer of man-made military tunnels inside the rock.
Oh wow. So that's one of the main tourist point in Gibraltar.
No, the main tourist point in Gibraltar are the monkeys, the famous Barbary macaques, because the military tunnels are that military tunnels, not for civilian population. So tourists can access a little portion of what is known as the Hayes Level World War II tunnels, but that is a very fraction of a tunnel you go in to visit.
Right.
And the military tunnel is for the military personnel. Civilians are not allowed, in theory, in them.
Amazing. Okay, Martin. So during the journey, I'm going to explore a little bit more about your career and also about your life overall, okay?
Okay.
So before we start our journey within the magic box, I would like you to tell me something interesting about yourself.
Okay. You want me to tell you something interesting about myself?
Yeah?
Okay. Well, I speak Spanish fluently. I speak English fluently. I speak a bit of German. I play the piano, and I'm a very good cook.
Oh my God, my goodness, you do a
And,
lot.
and I'm also a published author. I've got 3 books published in England.
Wow, my goodness. All right, so during the journey, I'm going to explore a little bit more about your books as well.
Okay.
Martin, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and share your point of views?
Okay, let's go for it.
Amazing. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So I've got here my best friend. Full of wonderful questions. I'm just gonna play a song now, just for us to relax a bit before the first question. Okay?
Okay. Right. Okay.
Let's do it. Yes, you can help me dance all the time. Right, Martin, before we start the game, during the join, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about some reason, you don't want to answer, always can change, okay?
Okay.
First question for you is, what does money mean to you?
Well, money for me personally means freedom to do more of what I would like to do,
Hmm?
but it's not necessarily the whole part of life. Money it helps, likewise, of course, for health issues or to make movies, etc. But it doesn't mean for me like it's a guard, like I have to have the money because that's what we are supposed to what we are supposed to do, or that's how we are taught. But no, for me, it just means to live a more comfortable life.
Do you think that money can bring happiness?
It can bring a certain amount of happiness, but
Huh?
I don't think it brings 100% happiness because having too much money will also bring problems.
Yes.
That is where we have your supposedly friends who you haven't seen in years. Suddenly, they're the best pals, the best friends of yours. And when you don't have anything, they don't even remember who you are. So, for me, yes, it helps to
Mhm.
to live a comfortable life and to have more independence. But
Yeah.
in reality, I think it's the root of all evil, money, to be honest.
Okay, I agree. I think the more money you get, the more problems will come along. I think that's it can be tricky as well, you know. And if you don't know how to manage and how to deal with that, it can become a huge problem.
It certainly can be, yes.
Next question, Martin. Let's do it. All
Okay.
right. Next question is, how would you describe a perfect, healthy relationship?
Well, being faithful is very important. I am married, of course. I've got a lovely wife. She's called Nadezhda. She's from Bulgaria,
Right?
and we have been married now happily for about 13 years, I believe.
Wow.
12, 13 years. Yeah, yeah, we have to forgive my memory when it comes to marriages. But it's happiness, being faithful, of course, very important,
Mm-hmm.
and have a companion with you that supports you in any way is very important. Supports me with all the projects, 100%, and that is very lovable in because it's you have a little foundation and a rock to hold on to. Because unlike what people may believe, filmmaking is a very difficult, stressful process. So if you haven't got that person beside you to support you and help you along those dark moments, it can be very challenging. So I'm fortunate to have my lovely wife, Nadeshda, with me along all that journeys, and it does help. So that's very important
And so
to have the
far, what
right person.
again?
It's very important to have the right person.
That's true. That's true. I think for the relationship to go in the right direction, it needs to be the right person.
Indeed.
So far, what's the most beautiful lesson you've learned from her so far?
Well, honesty is, we are honest with each other, and it makes life that much easier. We don't have any secrets. And again, life is a beautiful life, quite complicated by having secrets or making wrong decisions, basically. So we support each other. We are very open in our relationship in that sense. And it's very fortunate that we are on the same wavelength.
Amazing. Next question. Let's do it. Before the next question, tell me a little bit about your books.
Okay. The last one is called Snatched, the Unforgettable Cruise. It's based on true life crimes aboard cruise ships. And it covers everything that people, even ordinary passengers and crew members, sometimes don't realize of how dangerous it is to actually be on a cruise. I haven't written the book against the cruise industry. I've written it in conjunction with the research of 3 years of hard work with the organization in America called the International Cruise Victim Association and the lawyers, Mr. Jim Walker from Florida. And they shared with me over 1,000 different crimes. And based on that, I wrote, after 3 years of research, this book. And it covers not only missing persons, but it also covers ordinary crimes like rapes, pedophilia, thefts that happens frequently on board, and the reason why they happen, and why the law is so tight in the sense that they can't do much about it, which is a rather tricky situation. So the book covers everything, really. And it's actually available worldwide in Amazon. And in the States, I believe it's also available in Barnes and Noble. So the book's called Snatched, The Unforgettable Cruise.
Wow.
And it's published by Michael Terence Publishing from the UK.
You know what? I used to work for a cruise ship, Disney Cruise Line in Florida. I worked for a short contract for Disney Dream.
What company was that?
Disney World.
Disney.
Yeah, or for Disney Dream. I was working for.
They've got a very bad following.
I'll tell you something.
Because Disney, although it is, as you know, for kids and the family, there's a lot of crimes happening to the children there. And Disney Wonder or Disney Magic, it's in the book anyway, is where also you must have heard this case. Rebecca Coram, she went missing. She was from Cheshire, from the UK. And she went to Florida. She got the boat there, the ship, Disney Wonder, I believe it was the ship. And her job was to monitor the children. Something happened one night that she just disappeared. And the family went from Cheshire to the States to visit the cruise ship. And the mother couldn't even go over the railing to see where supposedly her daughter had jumped. Because the default factor of any cruise, not only Disney, but Carnival and all the rest, is that people jump. They commit suicide. Case closed. Let's move on. And that's it's an unfortunate thing because most of the cases, that's not it. There's more to it. But as you well know, there's no police. The ship is registered in a different country, hence a flag of convenience. So any activity, criminal investigations have to be conducted by the police from that country, which also is part of the problem with the international maritime laws. So again, the book covers everything.
Wow.
And in another Disney ship, we had in CCTV footage recorded an 11-year-old girl. She went into an elevator in the lobby. There was no one, just her. And she was followed by a 40-year-old Indian guy from Goa, crew member. And he began to fondle with her, touch her, try to kiss her, very inappropriate. And all this is captured in CCTV footage.
Wow.
So eventually she starts crying, shouting for help, help, help. No one comes. Eventually the guy hears someone approaching. He lets her go. She runs off. He runs away. The mother finally finds the girl. And all this is after the CCTV footage in the record. She understands what has happened to her daughter. Remember, she's only 11 years old. She's supposed to be protected in this bubble of a ship. And she insists on speaking to the captain. She wants justice. This is totally out of order. Unfortunately, the captain, the purser, and everyone else in the ship refused to show her the CCTV footage, and they're sort of brushing her away, like downplaying the situation. Unknown to her, that as the ship is making its way to its next destination port, when the ship arrives very early in the morning to its next port, that person, the 40-year-old crew member from Goa, from India, is sent off from the ship and transferred to a sister ship. So they move that problem from that ship, and now the problem is in a different ship.
Wow, interesting.
And all this is explained in detail also in the book. But to keep it quite short, the mother, she's an American lady, and she insists she wants justice for her daughter, and she continues after the cruise. She continues writing emails, going to the FBI, going to everywhere she can go, and finally, someone decides to do something about it. And 9 months after the event, 9 months afterwards, they arrest the Indian guy from Goa. But
Wow.
God knows how many children he must have molested during those 9 months.
Wow. Wow, a big story. My goodness. Is that okay? Just a question. Is that okay to keep this in the interview? Is everything okay to keep it, yeah?
Everything is totally legal. Everything is totally correct and justified in the book and in the information. So you will have no problems.
I see. Okay. I trust you.
3 years of
Next.
research with the lawyers who gave me all the information. So everything's above board.
Amazing. Okay, thanks for sharing. Thanks, Martin. Next question for you is, what does happiness mean to you?
Well, happiness means positive vibes. If I'm happy, I get better vibes, better, more focused on doing productive work. If I'm feeling down, I suppose everyone has the same issues. You're not feeling 100% and you just don't feel like doing much. But myself, I keep busy. I'm constantly writing scripts. I'm constantly with my associates in all parts of the world, talking about different projects on how we're going to do these projects and developing other projects. So as long as I'm happy, things will be kept productive.
Do you think that happiness is a choice?
Well, happiness is a choice if you decide to continue being happy. If you decide to be, I was going to say the word depressed, in inverted commas, but if you decide to be feeling low and you continue to keep on your mind negative thoughts and negative vibes, and because you are your worst enemy.
Yeah.
And because you're always contradicting yourself, you're always having doubting yourself, doubting your ability. And even at nighttime when you're trying to sleep, you may have that night that you're sort of constantly reliving certain things in your mind, and that alone can cause you to go even further down. So if you keep happy thoughts and keep motivated to remain happy, in theory, you should continue to be happy. So it's your choice to do so. Although sometimes it can be very hard, depending on the circumstance of the individual. Absolutely. And the state of mind too.
Yeah, I think it's a point as well, because sometimes you have this positivity attitude, but sometimes it can hit in a way, depending the situation, that you get a bit lost and you get down, which like they are own human being. You have to everyone. Yeah. Next one, let's do it. Next question for you is, what do you think is a good age to start dating and why?
Well, I suppose when you're young, like say 18 years old, you have a different mentality, wild mentality, very easy to see life. When you're a person of 40 plus or 50 years old, you've got more experience. So you take more precautions and maybe you've been hurt. So it's more doubtful or more dangerous for you to try and trust someone. So it all depends on the age of the person and their background. If they have the previous date and they've been hurt, or they've been married and they're divorced. So it all depends on the individual at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think it's very dating. As I said, people they have their own rules somehow.
Yes,
not dating.
Especially if the person has already been, like the saying goes, twice bitten. Shy. So it all depends on the person.
Absolutely. Okay. Ready for another one?
Let's go for another one. Go on then.
Let's do it. Hey, Martin from Gibraltar. Next question is, what is the most dramatic argument you ever had?
Wow. Most dramatic argument I've ever had. Well, in all honesty, it must have been my divorce.
Say again?
It must have been my divorce. I was previously married.
I see.
And I suppose it is a very, for people who have been through the divorce process, it's very stressful. And you suddenly encounter all sorts of negativity and all sorts of issues. You're suddenly the baddie, the bad guy. And, this can be converted into that. And you're sort of helpless, and while you're trying to defend yourself, how can that be the case when I'm only that basically so it's very stressful. But again, it all depends on the person itself. I was fortunate to have a previous wife who was different than I was, so there was a lot of clash involved. We clashed a lot, and it was not very nice.
Yeah, that's life, teaching us lesson, make us going up and down, and that's how it works.
Indeed. But as long as you remain strong, you should be okay.
Absolutely. Not easy, of course, but when you look back, you go like, okay, we need to go through that for some reason when you see the message in the future.
Yeah. Indeed.
Learning every day.
One day at a time.
Next one. Before the next question, tell me what's the biggest joy of being a film producer? What do you like the most about it? And the flip side, what do you find most challenging?
Okay, the most joyous side of producing filmmaking is to actually see the end result. Everything you've worked from the very beginning of the project to actually see it finalized. And the flip side about that is to actually be like a big pressure has been relieved. Like, you've done it, wow. Everything, all the stress and all the problems encountered along the way to get there was worth it, because the end quality is superior. It's great.
And
so
how yeah, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so it is that to actually see your, I would say, baby grow from script form all the way to post-production and final version of the film.
And how is the business in Gibraltar? It's a place for that. Is a good business over there. It's easy to no, it's a bit difficult.
No, and Gibraltar unfortunately have no. At the moment, we are for those watching this interview, we are in September 2023. Till today, for the moment, there are no tax benefits, no tax credits to film in Gibraltar. That means that if we film in another country, depending on the country, you will get 20%, 25, up to 40% tax credit back of whatever you invest in the film in that country. But in Gibraltar, there's none. That's why Gibraltar, we hardly see many productions here because there's no incentive for filmmaking here. The only reason I filmed this particular feature in Gibraltar just recently, which is called In Tenebras, Into the Darkness, was because I wrote it based on an actual story, true event that happened during the Second World War in Gibraltar, inside the military tunnels. And that's the only reason why I did this film in Gibraltar.
I see.
We have the real locations in the film.
I see. Okay. Next question is, what is your favorite weekend activity?
Oh, my favorite weekend activity. That's a tricky question. You see, on a personal note, I hate the beach.
Really?
Really. My wife we always argue because she loves the beach and I'm totally opposite. I hate it. But I'll tell you why I hate it, because in Gibraltar it's very small, so you're literally like this in the beach. You've got people here, you've got people here, you've got people next to you, just in front of you. It's like being inside a can of sardines.
It's crowded.
You have no privacy. And that's what I hate about the beach in Gibraltar. Everyone's on top of everyone else. You're hearing their conversations, they're hearing your conversations, you're watching people what they're eating, you have the kids running all over the place, and you've got no freedom. You're like, it's a constant battle. So my favorite activity, to be honest, is just working. Continue to work. If I'm writing a script, continue to write the script. If I'm developing a project, I will continue to develop the project. I don't turn off after 5 in the afternoon on a Monday to Friday. I'm literally on the trot all the time until I'm just tired and then I just go to sleep. So I'm a hard worker. I'm a workaholic, put it that way.
Martin, I think you are holding the microphone because I cannot hear you properly for a minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
Back now. Yeah. Tell me, how far are you from the beach?
Gibraltar is a very small place. I can drive to the beach in 5 minutes.
Wow, very close.
It's not very far. But like I said before, I don't like the beaches in Gibraltar because you are restricted. Yeah. You've got no freedom. You are literally in a box. You've got so many people around you because the beaches are small here. People opt to go to drive in Spain, across the border into Spain, which is about 10-minute drive onwards, depending on where you want to go. And you can go to the larger beaches there.
I see. So somehow, if you want to go to the beach, you can find a way then. It's not impossible.
No, I mean, I can walk to the beach. I can drive to the beach. But personally, when I get to the beach, I know what I'm going to find. So I just say, what's the point? I'll just stay home, finish with the work I've got pending, call my associates, I've got them all over the world, and continue developing other projects and continue working.
Amazing. Okay, I have 3 questions left. Let's do it. Okay, Martin, next question is, share with us a crazy or funny story that happened to you when you were a child at school.
Oh, when I was a child at school, I used to be a bit naughty in school, a bit mischievous. I suppose it was when me and my friend Nigel, I remember we did a prank to the headmaster.
Oh my God.
We were very young. And we basically had, I drank a bit of water and Nigel pulled my ear. As he pulled my ear, I sort of spit the water to the headmaster without intention to do so. It just came out naturally. And boy, did we get the strap. Whoa, massive strap in the hands. And the guy, the headmaster, really lifted his whole body, the whole weight in the strap, wham, to really, you're holding your hand like this, and you suddenly feel that strap hit your palm of your hand, and you're like, oh. So yeah,
Wow.
a bit mischievous. Like I suppose, like all the boys are when you get to that age. And remember that in those days there weren't any PlayStations or smartphones around, so playing outside, outdoors was the norm. You had your bicycle. I had a shopper bicycle. I remember, a very red, lovely shopper bicycle, and you had the freedom of going out and playing in the parks and have fun. Nowadays, you see all the kids just staring down at a screen, and they're basically just, you know, passing the time watching on a screen. So it's really sad, really, to see that.
Did you like school growing up?
Yes, I did like school. I studied a lot in school. I was very active in schoolwork, and I passed all my grades very well.
Hmm.
And I was very talented, to be honest. And there's where my career as a writer actually began. Being, taught productively all the grammar and everything I needed to the backbone for the writing.
Wow.
So it's quite good.
Who was your favorite teacher?
Well, I suppose it was Mrs. Rigironi.
Uh-huh.
She was a good teacher. She cared for her children. She really inspired you. She could give you a lecture for about half an hour, and you just blinked once and then realized that half an hour had passed.
Wow.
And her lessons were very, very great, very inspiring. And a lot of the military history that sparked my interest to continue writing and making these documentaries about Gibraltar's war and films and everything else actually derived from those lectures. Learning the history of Gibraltar in more depth. So she was a very good teacher, Mrs. Ridgero.
Wow. You remember her name? Amazing.
Yes, I've got a good memory. Thank God for that. But yes, she was very, very, she was excellent, to be honest.
2 questions left. Let's do it. All right. Next question is, who would you swap lives for a... No, sorry. Who would you swap lives with for a day if you could?
Who would I swap lives with for a day if I could?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good, interesting question. Well, I really don't know who. I would say. I mean, I look at myself like I'm happy. Um, everyone's got problems. We're not immune to problems, but I wouldn't evade my problems by wanting to be someone else, even for one day, because then if I return back after the day, the problems will still be there. But I suppose a lot of your people you interview probably say they would like to be famous actors or celebrities, to experience the vibes and the wealth and everything else. But I'm happy with the way I am, really. I mean, I'm modest. I'm not. If I could, yeah, one person I would really love to meet would be my idol, Mr. Spielberg, Steven.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I wouldn't like to be him for one day, because I respect him too much for that. But just the sense of actually meeting that man and having a conversation with him would be a dream come true.
Let's say now that Steven Spielberg is watching this interview right now, and you have the chance to ask just one question for him. What would you ask him?
Whoa. It's a tricky question because I followed his work and his career ever since he started. I remember he started, Hitchcock gave him an opportunity with Night Gallery back in the 60s, and then that led to Duel, Sugarland Express, and then ultimately Yours in 75. But the question I would ask him would be if he had any doubts or what was his feelings when he actually did in Poland Schindler's List.
Wow, good
Because
question.
I'm sure that must have been a very stressful project for him personally, especially being so close to where everything really happened.
Totally.
You know, so what did he really feel when he was filming those complicated scenes, very heart-wrenching scenes? I cannot even imagine. But that would have been a very lovely question to ask him and see his feedback on that, because it must have been hell.
Imagine this interview getting to him somehow and he sent a video replying that. Imagine, never know.
Oh, that would, like I said, you know, that would be an honor to have him, even if his feedback is negative. I don't care. I don't mind.
Doesn't
But
matter. Doesn't matter. Just
he's my idol. You know, he's a person that cannot be replaced. He's got so much talent, so much experience.
yeah.
He's done so much for the industry, and I hope he continues to do so for many, many years to come.
Absolutely. It's funny saying that because it's so true. When you think about movies, directors, you know, it's always Steven Spielberg comes to your mind somehow. It passes your mind, even though if you prefer, if you have other idols in the industry, but for a moment for sure his name or his presence cross our minds. You know what I mean?
He has done a lot for the industry, and you know, his films are renowned worldwide. You know, everything he touches is like it's a masterpiece. He's a very talented individual.
Ready for the last question, Martin?
Let's go. Yes.
Let's do last one. But before the last question, through your career, tell me a moment or a situation, anything that happened that's always gonna have a special place in your heart. Could be anything.
Okay. The research I did for Snatched, the Unforgettable Cruise book.
Yeah.
3 years of sifting through all those real life crimes aboard ships and learning the horrors that people have gone through. And remember that this doesn't happen in a particular line, like Florida, for example. It's worldwide. Different ships, Carnival Cruise Lines, P&O, Disney, you know, every cruise has its problems. And a lot of people get hurt in cruises because they're not aware of how they can avoid this. It's very simple. But you are just shown this advert of tequilas and mojitos and lovely Caribbean islands and great time, great buffet food. But what you're not taught is the bad stuff that happened, that you're not protected. You know, you're under the flying, you're going under the flag of convenience. There's no police in the ship and many, many other things. So looking at all that in detail and learning so much about the industry and finally writing this great book about it, it's been very, heartwarming and relief of sensation, because you're actually helping people's lives. People who read this book will understand when they go again on a cruise how to avoid being a victim. How you can avoid being falling down, not only yourself, but members, your loved ones, like family or friends, fall victim of human trafficking, organ trafficking, sexual crimes, you know, and many, many other crimes that happen. So I suppose that's the most rewarding thing that's happened to me. Writing something that will help a lot of people along the way.
Have you ever been in a cruise ship for yourself?
Yes. I went on a cruise ship with my wife. we went to, we actually got the cruise in Venice. It was 2015, I believe it was. And it was a Western, 1 week in the Western cruise. We went to Turkey, Greece, Dubrovnik, and then back to Venice again. But at the time, I wasn't aware of, what actually happened. So I was like any other tourist on a cruise, like, wow, a cruise, wow, let's go through here, let's explore here, let's do that. And I did see a lot of suspicious things happening, which now, looking back about that, you sort of, now that could have been leading to something else, hence a crime. But at the time, I wasn't aware, like no one really is. So my eyes weren't that open at the time, but they are now, thanks to the book and the research.
I'm sure when you go to the next one, you're going to be so aware.
And I do want to get again, because like I said, I haven't written the book to take people off from cruising. On the contrary, people still have to cruise. It's a lovely holiday, good experience, as long as you do it correctly and you are aware of your surroundings and you can see the signs that can lead to problems. And all that is explained in the book.
Okay. Last question for you is, which question you don't have an answer for?
Okay. What is the winning lotto numbers? I don't know. I get asked that every now and again by my wife. Shall we get some lotto numbers? What numbers? I don't know what numbers. You get the ones you want. Yeah, so I suppose that's an honest question.
Amazing. Okay. So then, yet, let's play now the word association game. Okay, I'm going to give away some words. Just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking, okay? Let's start with money.
Love.
How about family?
Children.
Love?
I suppose the first word that comes to mind was hate.
Okay. Life.
Life?
Life, yeah.
Death.
How about sex?
Oh, marvelous.
Okay. Politics.
It's a waste of time.
Religion.
No comment.
Fear.
Every day.
Friendship.
Friendship?
Yeah.
It's very important.
Desire.
Desire. Good Lord. Desire. I wouldn't really know what word to go with that one. It would be my wife.
Okay. Regrets.
Regrets. We all have regrets. Not doing this, not doing that, doing this wrongly, doing that differently. But regrets, for one word, try again.
Okay. Success.
Hard work.
Wish.
Prosperity.
Happiness.
Love.
One word for Gibraltar.
One word for Gibraltar.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
One word for film producer, film director, acting, all of that. What would be?
Stress. Stress for the actor, stress for the producer, for the director, for the writer, for everything. But it's a beautiful stress.
One word, if you could define one word for your book, what that would be?
Educational.
Good one. And the last one now, Steven Spielberg, one word.
Master.
Wow. Let's pretend I'm going to meet your lovely wife for a coffee and I'm going to ask her, tell me the most beautiful thing about you, yeah, Martin? And tell me something that Martin still needs to work on, to improve. What should say?
If you're asking her?
Yeah, about you.
Well, I suppose to have more time for her. Because like I mentioned before, I'm a workaholic, so I'm always working on some projects. Sometimes she feels a bit like, you know,
Lonely.
I'm here, I'm here, like I'm here, like I know, but yeah, I've got to finish this first. So yes, but she knows, yeah, it is hard work, and she understands me, so she does bear that also.
And something beautiful about you, what should say?
A good heart.
Sweet, very sweet. Let's play now Martin and the Magic Box, and you can ask me a question. But before that, let's play the music one more time. Let's do it.
Okay.
But before you ask me the question, as you said that you can speak Spanish and also German, what's your favorite Spanish words and your favorite German words?
Well, I would say my favorite Spanish word would be esperanza,
Nice.
which means
Hope.
happiness
Yeah.
and hope.
Yeah.
It's actually Nadezhda is a Bulgarian. Is translated means hope, esperanza.
In Portuguese, we say hope as well. We say esperança in Portuguese.
I've been to Portugal, and it's very nice. I've been to with my wife a few times. We've been to Lisbon. We've been to Albufeira,
Yeah.
the Algarve. I've been to Fatima 3 times,
Yeah,
and we love the ovo, pastel de ovo.
Pastel de nata, pastel de nata.
Pastel de nata.
Yeah,
And Porto too.
I lived in Porto for 5 years before I moved to England, but I'm from Brazil originally. I'm from Brazil.
Very nice.
And your favorite German word?
Ich liebe dich.
Which means?
I love you.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, you can ask me a question now, Martin.
Okay. What do you feel when you're interviewing people like myself? How do you feel about that? What goes through your mind when you're meeting different people like this?
What a beautiful question, Martin. Oh my God. Do you know the same feeling when you are writing your book, when you get your movie together, this amazing feeling. When I'm connected to someone, I forget about the world outside. I'm literally here. I feel like just two of us in the world. And I'm literally, every experience, every answer you give, my mind go together, and I can picture myself watching that, like literally in front of me. When people, they are describing their happiness, their memories, their weakness, their traumas, or everything that they're describing, they're sharing here. Literally, I picture myself in the situation somehow. I can put myself there. So every interview I do, I literally go in different journeys. I've learned a lot. My God, today, just talking to you, have no idea how much I've learned as well. So every interview I do, besides the passion, the love, the intensity that goes through my mind, I'm literally I love the question actually. I go literally through a lot of experiences when they are sharing, because I can literally see the whole situation through their eyes, through their comment, through their words, and I picture myself there. So imagine how many stories, how many journeys I've been so far. And actually, I just reached 1,000 interviews on the show not long ago. So imagine how many stories I have the privilege of being, sharing and connect with my guests. And the funny thing is, when people ask me a lot about, what do I like the most about the show, about this, about that. And actually, what I feel more grateful for, it's for people to open their house for me. When I say their house, of course, it's the place where they are, because literally I excuse myself to go into their house. Yeah, but at the same time as well, their house here, that they let me somehow be part of it as well, when they're sharing memories. So for me, I feel grateful, I feel privileged for them to trust, because you have no idea, people, they talk here with me. It's a trusting process. They trust me, they trust the show, they trust that they can, you know what I mean, we can connect. And doing that, they literally let me go into their stories, their memories, So I think that's it's a beautiful thing. I think I'm so grateful every day for that. So yeah, that's my answer to you.
It's a very good answer, and it's very, I understand you completely about that, and the intimacy is there, so it's quite good.
Yeah, and I feel privileged about that because imagine it's not every day that people they open themselves for a stranger. You know what I mean? Literally, they of course they did some research about the show. They did a bit of research before accept my invitation. But at the same time as well, they're talking to a stranger, someone that for some reason they feel like connected, they feel like safe that they can talk about not just me but the show itself because the whole concept of the show, you know what I mean, they feel safe that they can share their memories. So yeah, that's my, I love the question, I love the question. That's the feeling when I'm here doing the interview and connecting with people around the globe. That's the real feeling for me.
Well, it's a very honest answer, and thank you once again for entrusting that response with me. I
No,
would also like to say thank you to my publishers, Mickey, for organizing this interview. It's very important, Mickey Soler.
absolutely.
And she's also a very great person, and she's she's a great publicist.
She's lovely, actually. She's been trying to asking people to do the interview for the show as well. So Vicky, she's a lovely person. I think she's, you know, it's so interesting to see people, you know, somehow helping the show to grow, helping the you know, I think it's amazing to see that. So I'm grateful for all of that as well. So yeah, thanks so much for taking the time. Thanks for being so kind and sweet as well. I think nowadays we are so busy with our lives, and when someone take their time for us, it's a gift. But before you go, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
Like I mentioned, thank you to Mickey Soler, and thank you to everyone who has been supporting and collaborating with myself with all our projects. Special thank you to Jane Fitzpatrick and Rick Valentine. And very important, thank you to my wife, Nadeshda, for always being there.
Sweet, very sweet. Thanks so much, Martin. And I'll see you one day in Gibraltar or anywhere in the world. Thanks so much for this.
Obrigado. Thank you very much, and have a good afternoon.
You too. Bye-bye. Take care. Bye. So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why you'd like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye-bye. See you next time.